Number 61. To see why an MRI utilizes iron to increase the magnetic field created by a coil, calculate the current needed in a 400 loop per meter circular coil, 0.66 meters in radius, to create a 1.2 Tesla field, typical of an MRI instrument at its center with no iron present. All right, so first of all, you have this kind of loop thingamajig, right? So you got these loops, blah, 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 and over 1 meter of length, there's going to be 400 turns. This is known as a basic solenoid, okay? So anytime you have a coil, if you hear the word solenoid and you're like, what the heck is that? It's basically just a tightly wound coil, all right? So, you know, in case they started saying you have a solenoid, just think it's the same thing as a coil, okay? Now, in order to relate magnetic field and current of a solenoid or of a coil, you have to use this formula, that magnetic field strength at the center of that solenoid or coil will equal the permeability of free space multiplied by the number of loops per meter, okay, or the number of turns per meter, however you want to call it, multiplied then by the current. So to find the current, all you got to simply do is divide these two on out, right? Look at how nice and easy that is. Now, the magnetic field they told you at the center of this solenoid or at the center of this coil is going to be 1.2 Tesla, right? Remember, the scientist, not the car. And then this is now divided now by 4, the permeability of free space, which is 4 pi times 10 to the minus 7th. Then that's multiplied by the number of loops per meter, which is 400. And simply calculate that on out, and you'll get your current. So let's do 1.2 divided now by parenthesis 4 pi times 10 to the minus 7th times then 400. Close those parentheses, and bada bing, bada boom. There you go. I guess 3 sig figs is fine. So this is going to be 2.39 times 10 to the 3 amps. All right. That takes care of that. And then it says the magnetic field of a proton is approximately like that of a circular current loop, okay, of 0.65 times 10 to the minus 5th meters, all right, in radius, carrying a blah, blah, blah current. All right, so now I don't know what this, okay, I'm not really sure what the heck's going on here, but let's just calculate this, I guess. So we got a circular current, all right. Now this is not a solenoid because it's just talking about a single loop. When you have a series of loops, that's what's called a coil, or aka a solenoid. So you have the circular current, and they tell you the current inside of this thing, the current here is going to be 1.05 times 10 to the minus 15th. 1.05 times 10 to the 4th amps. It also tells you then the radius of this loop, right, is going to be 0.65 times 10 to the minus 15 meters. Okay, so this is the radius. You can call it big R, little r, I don't know. So it just depends on the book and the formulas. So 0.65 times 10 to the minus 15th meters. And what we are tasked to do is we're going to find the field. What field? Electric field? Magnetic field? I don't know. Since we're in the magnetic chapter, I guess the magnetic field, but maybe we should be a little more specific. So we're going to calculate that magnetic field, okay, at the middle. So what we need to do is we need to know a formula that relates magnetic field B, the radius of a loop, not a coil, but a loop, and the current traveling around that, right? So do we have a formula that does that? Yes, I think we do, right? Here's the formula over here on the right-hand side. This says that the magnetic field, okay, of a loop is going to be equal to, or the magnetic field at the center of the loop is equal to the permeability of free space multiplied by the current traveling around the loop divided by 2 multiplied by the radius of that loop. So here we go. 4 pi times 10 to the minus 7th times the current 1.05 times 10 to the 4th divided then by 2 times the radius 0.65 times 10 to the minus 15th. All right, and those are all the right units. All right, let's just go to town. So 4 pi times 10 to the minus 7th times 1.05 times 10 to the 4th divided by then parenthesis 2 times 0.65 times 10 to the minus 15th. And there we go. So magnetic field here is going to equal now 1.05, I guess. No, excuse me, 1.01 times 10 to the 13th. And that is Tesla. Okay, so that's, I guess, just the answer to that. So guys, thanks so very much for tuning in. I appreciate it. Please remember to help us out and subscribe, and I will see you soon. All right, take care.